I think the state of play, just to be clear, is that Kevin Muscat's deal has been agreed. So Kevin Muscat has agreed to his side of it. Rangers have agreed to their side of it, and the sort of the kind of details around the periphery are now not just the periphery, I guess, because it will be a substantial check that Rangers now need to thrash out the contents of with Shanghai Port. But I think that's probably set in stone, somewhere between £1.5 million to possibly as much as £2 million.
Wow.
In compensation, but also then the kind of details around the backroom team. There is a bit of information I can bring on that. A couple of names that have come forward this afternoon as, you know, probably going to come to Glasgow from Shanghai with Kevin Muscat: Ross Alusi and Vince Lerardo. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I rather suspect that the backroom team maybe kind of picked from more local guys on the ground here in Scotland. But I think one person that you should take a look at in terms of possibly making the same journey from Shanghai to Glasgow is a really interesting guy actually, called Les Gellis, who is currently employed in Shanghai as head of high performance. Now, this guy's got history with Kevin Muscat dating back to, you know, a couple of decades. I think he worked with the Socceroos. He's been around the Australian national setup. I think he's kind of qualified medically. I think he was a physio for a while as well. But he's emerged as a real key guy in Muscat's setup, because it's his job to make sure that the players are peaking and hitting fitness levels, which Muscat believes are absolutely essential in order to play his style of football. And as we've seen, you know, from if it's similar to the way that Ange Postecoglou had Celtic playing, that's really high intensity, high tempo stuff. So I think that Les Gellis, he could be a crucial component, and I expect that he'll make the same journey from Shanghai to Glasgow with perhaps, you know, maybe more of a local feel to the coaching staff.
Well, look, needless to say, Rangers fans are pretty buzzing with the news. If you want to get in touch and get involved in the conversation, please do so. Let me read out a few of the comments to you. Rich says, Muscat was my preferred candidate. Good to see he has some integrity. Staying in Shanghai to see out the season. Hopefully McCann will come in as assistant manager as well. Our old pal Gianni says, surprised Vinoli wasn't given the shot after travelling over via his Ryanair flight from Pisa. And a couple of people, this one, Mark says, Mark says another manager comes in, he's second choice at best. Gravy says, I can't believe it. Finally, now we wait for him to arrive next November. And Scott wants to know, is Neil McCann taking the team after Saturday?
I think that first and foremost, they will need to sort out contractual agreements with whoever it is that Kevin Muscat has identified as, you know, as guys he wants on his coaching staff. I fully expect, in fact, Neil McCann will be one of them, and I think he'll be his assistant manager, which was, you know, I think the two names that I said there about Ross Aliosi and Vince Lerardo, they're both currently kind of co-assistant managers to Muscat. I think I fully expect, because it's a long-standing agreement between Kevin Muscat and Neil McCann, that Neil McCann will go in there basically as his right-hand man. And I think, you know, there might be a couple of other surprise candidates in there as well. But I think that they'll be more likely to be local than brought in from the Far East.
And Scott, I mean, I put a comment up there from Gary. The fans want results and Muscat can bring success. That's what fans care about, really, at the end of the day, isn't it?
Oh, of course it is, especially now, given where Rangers are sitting in the league. But that raises the issue of not being able to bring him in for another month. I did a piece today where I was looking at the games, obviously, that Kevin Muscat will probably miss. I think there are 4 league games in there. Obviously Saturday, I think they've got Kilmarnock, Hibs away. It might be 5, Dundee and Livingston as well. 2 big European games against Branbergen and AS Roma at Ibrox. And obviously the big one, the Premier Sports semi-final at Hampden against Celtic. So, as I said last night, I don't think Kevin Muscat's a bad appointment. I think he could be a good Rangers manager, and I think if fans were looking at the kind of top 3 or 4 targets when Russell Martin gets sacked, that he'd have been on that list. I think he ticks a few boxes, but there's no getting away from the fact that this is not an ideal situation for Rangers given where they are. I mean, Jacko touched on it at the top of the show, to have Stevie Smith, one of the youth coaches, get in there and taking a vital game, Premiership game on Saturday, which Rangers can't afford to drop any more points in, isn't ideal at all. It's probably a bit unfair on Stevie Smith himself, even though I'm sure he'll do a good job, good young coach. And even if Neil McCann comes in and takes over the team until Muscat gets there, I don't know what Jacko thinks of this, but look, Neil McCann commands respect. He's been in there before. He was there last year, obviously, with Barry Ferguson. I'm sure players will react well to him, but we know what players are like. They like certainty, they like clarity, and it feels to me like you don't know what you're going to get for the next month or so with these Rangers players, because this is a group of players who, let's face it, have shown this season that, I don't think there's enough strong characters in there. I don't think there's enough strong leaders in that dressing room. We know the quality's not been there under Russell Martin. They suddenly think they're going to produce big, high-level performances under Neil McCann while waiting for a new manager to come in. I think that's unlikely. It'll feel to me, just thinking the way players are and how things have went in the past, I could just see players stuck in this kind of no man's land because they're just waiting for the new guy to come in. And I think